Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a video in response to our Christian brother Together for Peace, and he asks a couple of questions. First being, if someone leaves Islam, should it be punishable? Do we think that it's punishable? And what does the Quran and Sunnah say about it? And apostasy and treason, what's the distinction? So the bulk of it is regarding apostasy according to Islam, the punishment according to Islam. Conclusively, the Quran does not state that a person who leaves Islam should be put to death. The Quran and Sunnah, when talking about, actually the Quran does not talk about this, the Sunnah, the Hadith talks about it, but the Hadith, when talking about putting to death or punishing a person that leaves Islam, does not talk about a person just rejecting Islam or accepting it and then rejecting it, so you punish him. First, the evidence from the Quran that it is not a requirement or Islamic Sharia to put a person to death comes from Surah Nisa, verse number 137, where the Quran says that those who believe, then disbelieve, then believe again, then disbelieve and increase in their disbelief will never be forgiven. Now, if a person, if he leaves Islam and he is supposed to be put to death, how in the world will he believe again and then disbelieve again? Secondly, the verse is very important in its wordings. The verse ends at the person disbelieving again, but the verse does not say that such a person is to be put to death. So there is no evidence from the Quran. Now coming to the Hadith, but before I come to the Hadith, let me just give a background of this apostasy law. See, during the time of Prophet Muhammad, there were these Jews who wanted to end Islam, who wanted to end this religion, end this movement, and declare it as a complete failure. So what they were doing is that they were joining Islam slowly, one by one, and then in bulk they were rejecting Islam. So to give the look to people that everyone is leaving Islam and it's a failed movement or a failed religion. So to prevent this specific thing from happening, the law regarding apostasy, which is actually the law regarding treason, came into being through the Hadith, not the Quran, through the Hadith. And looking at the context of the initiation of this law, it cannot be denied that this law is applicable, the punishment is applicable not on the person who leaves Islam, but on the person who leaves Islam and then works against Islam or wages a war against Islam. War does not necessarily have to mean that, combat. So the person who leaves Islam in order to work against Islam, to harm Islam, that person comes under the Islamic Sharia. A person who does not do that, if a Muslim, he wants to reject Islam, he wants to accept Christianity or Judaism or become an atheist, that specific thing or that decision and its consequences, it is between that person and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no question of putting such a person to death until and unless he starts to work against Islam. Now the hadith, there's one hadith which people quote a lot, in which Prophet Muhammad has said that whoever changes his religion is to be put to death. Now, firstly, this hadith is so general that it could apply then to any religion. And Salim Al-Awa came up with this question regarding in a discussion, and he said that this hadith only says that whoever rejects his religion, changes his religion, should be killed. So if a Christian changes the religion, then he should be killed. If a Jew changes his religion, then he should be killed. If a Hindu changes the religion, then he should be killed. And Justice S.A. Rahman studied the isnad of this hadith, and he found some weakness in the chain of narration. Apart from this hadith being khabr al-wahid, that means only one tradition, he found weakness in the isnad, the chain of narrators. Scholars like Ibn Taymiyyah have categorically stated in their works that an apostate or a person who leaves Islam should be re-invited to Islam, should be given da'wah to come back to Islam, not killed. Similar opinion was also given by Sufyan al-Thawri. So apostasy in the sense of just rejecting Islam is not punishable at all. The Prophet never put someone or commanded someone to be punished under the Islamic Sharia just because he rejected Islam. There is a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, volume 3, book 30, hadith number 107, which says that a Bedouin, he came to Prophet Muhammad, he gave his pledge of allegiance, accepted Islam. The next day he came back with fever and he was ill, and he said, I want you to cancel my allegiance. That means he wants to reject Islam. The Prophet refused thrice, and then he said, Medina is like a furnace, it keeps the bad people out and accepts the good ones and makes them better. Now this was a clear case of apostasy, but there was no sentence given that this person should be punished or this person should be put to death. The laws regarding apostasy, which should actually be termed as the law of treason, is that it is punishable for that person who leaves Islam only to work against Islam and to harm Islam or to wage war against Islam. That is punishable. So I hope that clarifies the position regarding apostasy in Islam.